I'm going to bring up Keith and Shannon. Keith, come up here. Shannon, come up. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. You are not holding. You should know about.
He can't see that as the problem.
Watch. This is what happens when we get engineers and nerds. They want to read off a thing. Do you guys want them to read off? I'm going to ask you guys questions. You're going to answer. Ready? Watch this. Watch this. I know how conservative these people are. Keith, what do you do for a living?
I'm a sales guy.
Sales guy?
Yeah, but I'm a licensed CPA. And
He's a CPA.
I sell tax software too.
Okay, and you sell tax software. Are you a real CPA?
What does that mean?
Okay, open up your arm. Do you have a debit and credit tattoo?
No.
Okay, you're not that nerdy. Okay, that's okay. Shannon, could you explain what you do for a living?
Sure. So I used to be a college professor. Before that, I was an elementary education teacher. So I come from an education background.
Awesome. And now you're real estate investors.
Yes, now we are investors. Started out in
Florida.
Vacation rentals in Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
You go ahead with that.
Yeah, so we just did vacation rentals in Florida, and really, Shannon is the primary manager of the real estate.
I'm going to move this up. I want to be loud. It's okay. It's okay, Keith. Yeah, just hold it if you want.
How's that? Is that even better? Okay. Good deal. Yeah, so we started out in Florida, and it was just vacation rental properties in Florida, and Shannon managed those remotely, which turned into a gigantic advantage because when COVID hit, that was a major benefit when we were in the multifamily space. But that's how we cut our teeth, I guess, in real estate first, was with these vacation rental properties.
Now, you have 3 kids. How old are your kids?
Let's see, they range from 23 to 19 to 15.
Any of them want to do real estate?
Yeah, one of them is interested in real estate and is constantly asking questions about it. But they get heavy doses of real estate conversations on a nightly basis at the Knight household.
I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So how did you find about lifestyles?
So, hi Chip Pace online and Olga Pace. I see you back there. Where did I see you?
The Paces?
There you are.
I know them.
So the Paces are very good friends of ours. They happen to live in our neighborhood. And while we were doing vacation rentals, the Paces were going to this thing called Lifestyles Unlimited. They told us, no, it's not a swingers club. It's nothing like that. It really is real estate. And Olga started telling me about multifamily and what that was like. And I asked her a jillion questions, and she found all the answers for me. And it really aligned with what we had learned with vacation rentals. So that piqued my interest, and we came with the Paces to case study, just like you are here tonight. How many of you are here because someone you know is already in lifestyles?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very common for a friend to drag you in here.
Yeah, very common. And then another, it sounds like a joke, but it really isn't. I grew up in the Houston area called Kingwood, Texas, suburb of Houston. Lots of Aggies there. Aggies are people you can trust in my...
Trust is a loose word.
Yes, they are. And my brother's an Aggie and my sister-in-law. And so when I met John Pry and I saw all these Aggies here who were doing this investing, and they said, it's the real deal. This really does work. Then I paid attention, and it kind of sold it for us.
Do you guys remember back, you joined in August 2018, you came to my seminar.
Yeah.
What was your big takeaway from that seminar? Because you hear friends talk about, but when you actually listened and heard, do you remember anything from the seminar, something that stuck out to you guys, maybe taxes or whatever? What was the big thing for you guys? Or the map or anything?
Well, for me, the hard money loan on the single family was kind of an eye-opener.
Okay.
But I was raised in a small business. My family, basically, we were farmers and ranchers. And so that was, sorry, how about like that? Yeah, so anyway, we were always, working on investments, right? And the whole conversation resonated with me because it was all about, this is a small business mindset where you are constantly trying to grow wealth as opposed to make an income. That makes sense. Make a paycheck style income. It's about growing your wealth.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say similar. Plus, with our vacation rental, we had cost segregated, so I understood what that meant on a very small level with a house. So when I learned about it with multifamily, I thought, I get that. That makes perfect sense on a bigger scale. Really, almost everything that you taught is something we had experienced on a much smaller scale with our vacation rentals. So it just
It solidified
Check.
what you already knew. You say, okay, this is real because
Correct.
it's real what I did in the past. Okay, great. Awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about the patios of McKinney. And actually, before we get into this property, I forgot to say at the very beginning that this is technically our third property, our second lead deal with Lifestyles, because the first was a portfolio of two different apartments over in Tarrant County. And by the way, that's the Barclay and Heights properties. If you are invested in those properties with us, come see me. I got a box of money for distributions. All right. Yeah.
So this is a little 60-unit property, right?
Yeah. Patty's McKinney is a 60-unit property built in the late 60s here. So we purchased this for $123,000 a door. And when we did this, I just wanted to throw up. And all I could remember, because that's a high dollar per door for me, right? And so I this is in Collin County, by the way. But I just kept remembering what Charles Ho said, which is if the numbers work, then it works. If the numbers work,
I saw
then it
Charles.
works.
Charles was here earlier. He's still here.
Yeah.
Where's my hose at?
He's out talking, I guess.
He's back there. He's out there.
But anyway, so we bought the thing for $7.4, and cash out of pocket on this was $3.5, and we financed it for $6.3.
Hold on. Slow down. You just said $3.5 million. How many people in this room besides me have $3.5 million in their bank account? So see, you lost the crowd. Did you buy this by yourself for
No, of
$3.5
course
million?
not. No, of course not.
How many partners did you have in this deal?
I think we got 53.
53 partners. So
53
53 people invest in this deal. Are they all from up here in Dallas?
No.
So where are they from? Give me some idea. Different states or
There's one from Tennessee. There's some from the Carolinas.
the guy from Tennessee? Does he have all his teeth? No,
as far as I know. Yeah.
Well, my point is this, guys. You can live. There's Charles Ho. Everybody wave Charles.
There he is.
Great guy. So you raised this $3.5 million. People from all across America. Do you remember how much your lowest investor was in this deal?
It was at 12,000, 15, 10.
10 or 12,000. Typically, just so you know, the minimum investment in most deals done at Lifestyle is 25 grand. And the reason I love that people like this, they don't forget where they came from. You know, so like they remember when you were new and you're scared and you didn't have a lot of money to work with. Give them a hand for giving the little guys at 10, 12,000 a chance to get in.
That investor that is I think a $10,000 investor is a college student.
Yeah.
Right. So, and David's right. I mean, we normally take 25,000 as the bottom tier, but we intentionally take that a number of people that are 25,000 range because we recognize people are trying to get started too. So
yeah, we realize even the truck driver, even the nurse, the teacher, they don't have millions to invest. Some guys do. We understand that doctors, lawyers have more money, but everyone deserves a better lifestyle. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter whether you put in 100 grand, 25 grand, or 50 grand, at 10% returns, 10% return, 100% returns, 100% return on the amount of money you put in. Everybody understand that? So I just want the new guys that are coming here for the first time thinking this isn't them putting up $3 million by themselves. It's a whole bunch of families. Now, this couple is doing all the work. They're the ones running the property, hiring people.
Shannon's doing
all the work, right? But you understand it. Now there are other investors that are there any investors in the room, by the way?
Yeah, if you're in the patios of McKinney, raise your hand.
So look, all the new people. Yeah. Look, all the people raise their hands. Yeah. These are all people putting in money in the deal. They're investors in it. Even that one over there. Okay, so I'm just saying. So they're real people, real results, not just them doing this deal. Okay.
So we financed it at 6.3, and this is Shannon's gonna talk about a deep value play in a minute, but we're rehabbing to the tune of 1.6. So in other words, we're gonna put $1.6 million in rehab into this property. Okay, a lot. We're basically rehabbing top to bottom on this.
Yeah, that's like close to $30,000 a door they're putting in. That's a huge rehab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Move on.
Okay.
We're gonna skip this one.
Yeah, skip that one.
By the way, I had to tell them, you guys write too much and it's too nerdy. We're going to lose people, so we're going to keep it simple. Okay?
Okay, so like I said, this is a deep value play, and every unit is...
Hold on a second. I got to give a disclaimer, Keith. They don't know what a deep value play is.
Okay.
We teach two different deals here in Lifestyles when it comes to apartments. A yield play is one in perfect shape and needs nothing. You make money from day one. A value play is like going on a date with a girl. You don't want a perfect girl. You want a fixer-upper girl. This girl talked back twice and has two black eyes. You see what I'm saying? So that gives the idea. This is a joke. Don't read into it. I just make it funny so you can understand it. So that's what value play means. It's a fixer-upper. They took an ugly girl and they're going to make her pretty.
Yeah, so like the previous slide said before, it's a 1968 build property, and nothing had been done to this property basically since 1970. Right, so it was.
I was born in '68 to give you an idea.
Yeah, so every time we rehab a unit, though, the rent goes up by at least 50% or more.
That is huge. That is huge. That means if it's 1,000, went to 1,500.
Right.
Now look at them all getting excited. The people are investing in the deal. They're peeing themselves a little bit. That's why these people are wearing Depends right now.
So you'll see the results of Shannon's hard work and talent in the upcoming slides here with the pictures. But to date, we're about 50% complete with the remodel. So we're about 30 units complete on this, and we're beginning to have positive cash flow, and monthly income is going to steadily increase. And you'll see this on some slides in just a few moments.
So just so you all understand, when they buy a deal like that's a fixer-up like this, they don't even expect to make a return the first year. Why? There's people moving out. The rents are low.
Right.
It's upside down. It's going to take a couple years to turn this around, but the big bang is at the end. You understand? Where we could double their money or more.
How many were empty?
At takeover, none, but that doesn't mean everyone was paying.
Yeah,
Right,
just
right.
because it's physically full, economically just means they're physically there. They
There was a
are
lot of physically there.
financially disenfranchised individuals. That's a politically correct word for a deadbeat.
Zombies, right.
Zombie. I like that one. There you go.
So real quickly, the previous slide there had the current valuation on it. I don't even remember the number. But if you recall, we paid $123 a door for it, $123,000 a door for it. I was talking with a broker last week and just casually mentioned this thing to him being in Collin County. He knew about the property and he said to me, without hesitation, pretty confident I could get you $160 a door right now.
So they're already making, even if they sold it now, they'd be making a killing.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
That's a great feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
So this property was not always known as the patios of McKinney. It was called Brookwood Fourplexes. How many of you have been to a football game in McKinney, Texas at the Ron Poe Stadium? Okay. Across the street from this Ron Poe Stadium was Brookwood Fourplexes. You probably never even noticed it. We went for years to football games, watched our son march in the marching band. I never noticed this property, and it was right across the street.
it's a little
Okay,
nasty.
so kind of nasty needs a new reputation when you're putting a lot of money into it.
Yeah, Janet Jackson said that. Nasty if you want it.
Yeah. So we have changed the name to the Patios of McKinney, and it's caught on. And people are talking about the patios. You go to Home Depot and they say, "Oh, you're with the Patios of McKinney. I've been driving by that. That looks so great." The appliance guys that have been delivering say, "Oh, I always love it when I get to come here because I get to see the transformation." So
Does
it's
everybody
caught on.
understand how you have to rebrand? If it has a bad image, by changing the name, it's a totally new image, new people, new owners, new everything. Okay? Does that sign look like night and day difference to y'all? Yeah. Yeah. Give them a hand. That's huge. It's awesome.
So as you can see, the outside used to be kind of a creamy color. It's hard to tell in the picture, but the roof was green. Green shingles, green. So no matter what I could figure out to do with the paint, the roof just still bugged me. So I had the roofer come out. I was so hoping he was going to tell me we needed new roofs. Well, guess what? Nope. Your shingle roofs look wonderful, he said. No hail damage in 20 years. I said, "Oh, you're killing me." So what do? We painted the roof. There's roof paint. The roof was painted. That's what you see there on the afters. That's the paint. So it's a dark black
Why
roof
didn't you keep that
with
leather
white.
chair out there?
I know. I should have saved it for you.
I know.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's the before. That happened like right before we bought the property. That was one of the units we toured, and that's how it looked. And then the after, you can see we redid the fencing, turned it horizontal, painted it dark gray, painted the brick white. How many of you have been to downtown McKinney before? So you know that it's really a place where people are buying the older homes and transforming them, right? So a popular thing is sort of a farmhouse style. Painted brick is very popular. That's just rippled out from the downtown McKinney area, so we just followed suit. And so it's
And that's what we call gentrifying. And gentrification is a good thing for us. Okay, it means our values are going to go up.
Yeah, so we're really kind of changing the whole look of that area. The before and afters inside, see our bathroom there? Used to have Formica countertop and one of those preformed tub shower kind of things and cabinetry. So all new there. Granite countertops, double sinks, which they did not have before. Tile.
Doesn't this look 70s to you, Berm Chicka Wow Wow?
Mm-hmm.
And this looks modern. So can you see how they can get higher rent for that? They're going to attract better clientele overall.
Yeah, this gets your rent up $500 to add these things. All right, the kitchens were pretty much, that's one of the better kitchens. A lot of them, the cabinetry was falling off the wall. So again, replace the countertops with granite and then stainless steel appliances.
Looks great.
You'll notice the flooring, we took out all the carpet and added vinyl plank. One thing unique about these that I forgot to mention before is every one of them has a patio, thus the name, the patios of McKinney. Every one of them. So 60 units, and right now with everyone, so many people still working from home, people wanting their own personal outdoor space, that's pretty much the reason they tell me they come to tour the property and check it out, is because they want that outdoor patio space.
They're also all one story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No second floor, so no noise from above, no stairs anyone has to climb. We've done all hard floors across vinyl plank, people like that, and they all have a wood-burning fireplace, which is kind of unusual.
So this is more pet-friendly, too.
Very pet-friendly, so I can charge that $15 pet rent.
Or if they're like grandparents with problems.
So if you'll go back one slide, I want to point out the closets. Look at these closets. Can you go back?
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See those giant doors? That was the closet. And if you were lucky, yours was actually on the track. If you weren't, it fell off on you when you were asleep one night and you just leaned it up against the wall because nobody could ever get it reattached. So we came in and rebuilt our guys rebuilt the closets and made them really nice inside.
And nice 6-panel doors, so it looks better.
Yeah, looks a lot better.
Okay. So really, you don't have to explain all these numbers. For the new people, they're not going to understand all the minutia up top. It's really the bottom line is the bottom number. That's how they would understand it.
I was really going to do all the CPA calculations.
I know you probably would. That's why I got
kind of disappointed.
Did I wreck your night?
A little bit. Okay, let's just go straight to the bottom 2 rows on this. Let's go to the second bottom row. Look at the net cash flow as it grows from year 1, 2, and 3. Bottom line is on year 1 and 2, we're going to be rehabbing the properties, and the revenue is going to increase as we rehab those, which is going to increase that net cash flow going across. You want the percentage numbers on that? It goes 1% the first year up to 5% and then 9% on a projected cash flow on this property.
Now, there's one more number I want to bring up to you if you're new. Normally, when people take over a property, most operators, not lifestyles, they learn the right way. We teach something here called best product, best price, service by the best people. Most properties, when we take them over, they're starving the property. They're trying to cut expenses. Did you notice that their expenses are going up each year? Because to run it properly, you have to put money back into a property. So give them a hand for doing that. It's the opposite of what you would think. It's huge to do that.
Yeah, also, you've got your property taxes. Like the first year, we weren't really hit with a big tax bill, but now they've figured out that we bought something and raised it up. So that year 2 is reflecting taxes.
And by year 3, you should make about an 8%, you're figuring? And that's our goal. Our goal is to make 8-10% if we can, tax-free. Who like tax-free income, 8-10%? That's the end goal, right? But by them increasing this income, different than single family, if they can raise their income, it will double their amount of money. And I know you don't understand the math for that yet. When you come to my seminar this weekend, I'll teach you the math behind how they're able to, by raising that income, they're able to double the amount of money their investors are going to make. And that's what really this next slide shows. There you go.
Okay, so this is really why we bought this property. It's for the sale. So if you take a look here, we've got the property valued at $7.4 when we bought it. By year 3, it's projected to be $14 million. After we pay off our debt of $6,325, we return all the capital to investors. That means you get 100% back that you had put in.
All your money back and have no money in the deal anymore, and then the rest is all profit from that point forward.
Yeah, then we're left. So In years 2 and 3, we'll have distributed cash to everybody, just like we've got an envelopes right here for another property that we're leads on. But then you're also going to end up with capital gain in the sale of the property. So you total all that up, it'll be almost $5 million in equity capture that we'll distribute to everyone. That's 142% return after the original return of investment.
Not only did you get all your money back, but an extra $5 million. Who'd be okay with that? Give him a hand. That's pretty cool, right? Oh, your hand's up because you're in the deal.
So, and this is a good example of hanging in there. You know, if you get into one of these kind of deals, you got to be in for the ride. So, you know, we got in and there was a lot of vacancy, economic vacancy, not physical. Corona, all of these things. Rehab takes longer sometimes than you think. All kinds of stuff happen. But if you can just keep your eye on the end goal, you'll get there. So as a passive, just be ready to kind of ride that with the lead. And hopefully in the end, it's going to work out like we think, but I don't know why it wouldn't, right?
Well, think about this, guys. You know, they went through the worst economy ever last year, did they not? But you got to think of with the end in mind. That's the end in mind. Have they not increased the rents crazy amounts already? So while you're all scared of Corona and all that, we say bring it on. Let's have a good plague. Who's with me, right? But and this is what I love about real estate. If done correctly, the way we teach it, even during the worst economy ever, which was last year, we're still making money. Who's okay with that? You understand? We survived, and that's huge.
Yeah, and in our first 2 properties, all the people there are people I put in place. I gave leases to, and I followed Dave's recommendations in class, which is they've got to make 3 times the rent and income. They can't have credit problems and criminal background issues. None of my people had that in our 2 Fort Worth properties, and we had no issues with Corona, 0. Didn't have a single person that had to be evicted or get Texas rent relief.
Yeah, I'm gonna go big on that this weekend because I know a lot of you are scared. So when I teach my seminar right now, for the past year, I've been going deep into why we don't lose money. It's because the market that we're targeting are the essential workers. Who are the only people that can work during COVID? Essential workers. We're not doing the high-end stuff. We're not doing the low-end stuff. That's why we survived, and they're following that model.
Hey, I just want to say also that Shannon's a big talent. We learned this in Florida too, but Lifestyles teaches us. I mean, we had a good success run with COVID because of the fact that Shannon is very focused on those metrics he's just laid out on, you know, all the different times of rents, your criminal background, all that stuff. But it's also customer service.
Absolutely.
It's also about creating a community. It's also about creating a level of trust on who you're renting from. And Shannon's got all of that nailed to perfection, and they just like it where they live.
Yeah, sometimes in the seminar, I say things very quickly. Best product, best price, best people at a particular price point. But best people is huge. One of the biggest things in this industry in apartments is retention. It's just like in marriage. What's the rule in marriage? It's cheaper to keep her. In other words, turnover in the industry is typically about 50%. It's much lower at Lifestyles because we take care of people. Just the words that Keith said, you guys don't realize how powerful it is. When they bought this property, it was a complex. Now it's a community. Words matter, guys. It really does.
Listen, I'm a sales guy. It's a competitive advantage. It is truly a competitive advantage.
Compared to the other people out there, you know, when they went from fourplexes to, you know, what they're naming it, rebranding it, that is huge for people. You know, people feel it's a home now.
Oh boy.
Somebody said, tell them about the fire. I don't know what that means.
That's partly why our expenses are higher in the next 2 years. We had a fire. We had a whole fourplex burn all the way down inside. The brick was left.
We don't
really
need
bad.
Water. Never mind.
So insurance paid to have it rebuilt. We now have people in place in all 4 apartments. Rent was $1,300 a month. They're all 3 bedrooms. Right now, they're all paying $2,000 a month.
So while you're all scared of, like, what if there's a fire, a flood, a hurricane, we're like, yay! We don't want to get too excited, though. But the point is, rule number 1 is never lose money, good insurance, replacement costs, getting public adjusters. There's a way to answer all that stuff. So even a worst case scenario can turn into a blessing.
Yeah, so insurance paid for that entire thing to be rebuilt. So Yeah. So, Leo, the cost of goods and services has gone up, right? So that has helped give us back a couple $100,000 out of our rehab budget that we needed for the cost of increased appliances, just everything, labor for our rehab. So I'd love to say, oh, we've got $200,000. We don't know what we're going to do with it. That's not true. It really is being needed. So in a way, not that I would wish that on anyone, but the fire was a bit of a blessing in disguise for our budget, for sure.
Yep. During rehab. Yeah.
We bought the property the very end of September, and the fire was the middle of November. We had not fixed those up. We barely even knew the residents at that
we
point.
call those legacy units, the older
Yes.
ones. Yes. The question was, how did you find the property? Somebody asked.
It was an off-market broker
Pocket deal kind of thing?
Yeah, the broker from, where was he, Houston, called us.
Yeah, a lot of deals we get are pocket deals, and because we have a reputation. They knew they were already buyers. They already bought other properties. They had a reputation. When you have that reputation, you build it up by buying other properties. You're going to get other deals offered to you.
So yeah, this broker was basically hounding this owner. The owner actually lives in Canada. And anyway, he hounded him for years and years and years, and finally got him to agree that if he could find a buyer, he would sell it. And then that broker contacted Carolyn Putney here at Lifestyles, and Carolyn reached out to us.
So Carolyn's one of our Lifestyles agents who found it for them. A pocket deal. Who'd like those pocket deals? Yeah. I'll teach you about that this weekend. Yep.
Yeah, so we're really spoiled. It's 15, 20 minutes from our house, which probably never have something that great again,
So this was
location-wise.
your favorite one now because it's closer, right?
It does tend to be my
grows on you, right?
favorite.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take some more of those. If you know anyone selling in McKinney, Texas, let us know.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions? There's one right there. The milk lady.
Yes, Laurel?
Wait, don't call them low life. Financially disenfranchised individuals. Go on. Those people. Okay, so let me transpose her question. She says, look, you just built this brand new one that was burned down, and now you're trying to get $2,000 rents, and then you have these old legacy residents paying low rents. How did you rebrand the property, or how did you make it where there's the high-end renters with the low-end renters? How did you deal with that?
So at the beginning, we cleaned house of people that weren't paying or were dealing drugs or were bringing drug traffic
Those
onto
were
the
amenities
property.
before.
So before I could really start getting anybody into new remodeled apartments, I had to clean it up. So I know the JP very well for my precinct.
So there's no longer street pharmaceutical dealers.
No. So, and you'd think a drug dealer would pay his rent, but he didn't. And so that gave me a chance to evict him. He actually was helping other people get PPP loans on the property and taking like a cut of that, but he still wouldn't pay his rent.
He was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So we just went to court, and luckily our JP was he could see the way, right? Basically, he just would say, "Are you paying your rent?" They would say no, and he would say, "Okay, judgment for the patios in McKinney."
Yep.
So we cleaned them out pretty fast as we could with the CDC restrictions that were in place.
Yeah, most of you don't realize we actually did evictions during COVID. There's ways to do it. I'll get into that later, but it's people thought you can't evict during COVID. No. If you're educated, if you have operation consultants, they'll teach you the right way to do it. There's like 3 or 4 different ways we can evict even during COVID.
Yeah, so that's what we did. I've even done a writ of possession for the first time on that property, and that was very interesting. So I've learned everything I could think of so far, just on this one property. Yeah.
Now, you've been to court, 7 times?
At least.
7, 8 times.
You
You've
should
never
tell
lost
your
a
friends
case.
you've been to court 7 times.
Yeah, I don't.
Never
yeah.
lost a case.
Yeah.
Never lost. Don't go to court with this woman.
There you go. Give her a hand. Yay. Oh, the question was, what did you teach in real life before this?
How to win court cases.
So I used to teach 4th, 3rd, and 2nd grades, and then I taught future teachers.
Oh, wow.
But one of my
So when you were,
specialties was classroom management, behavior.
oh, wow.
So I use a lot of that with problem
Drug
residents.
dealers.
Yeah. How many of you are teachers? Yes, I see you. And how many of you are property managers who used to be teachers? Yes. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It transfers. The skills transfer.
Yeah, especially when you got the 4th grade level, that was like above an ag.
I'm sorry, John.
Not everybody has a great education.
That's right. Steve, you have a question?
The question was, with the low occupancy when you took over, what kind of loan did you get?
It's a bridge loan. So not only it really didn't have to do with the occupancy, because remember, it was 100% physically occupied. It really was Corona, and the agency lenders were not lending. And there were two lenders that our lending partner with Lifestyles could offer us, and one of them was a bridge lender. I believe maybe the other one was too,
Yeah,
but for
sometimes
sure this one was.
The DSCR ratio is too low and stuff like that. So there's ways around these things, where we can, there's like 50 different ways to do a loan. The question is, does it still work? Do the numbers still work? That's all that matters.
3 years with an option to buy an additional year. But it's IO.
And don't worry about all this stuff.
1 year.
If you're new, this is Greek. It's not important. This is just the nerds in the room want to know nerd stuff.
Yeah.
IO's interest only, period, stuff like that. So you don't need to know all this when you're new. Okay? Awesome. Any other questions? Okay, so the question was, when you first saw it looked like a big turd. It must have been a total turnoff. What made you attract this property? Was it the numbers? What was the big thing that made you guys look at it?
I said it before. Charles Hode said in one of the sessions that we went to that if the numbers work, the numbers work, right?
Exactly.
You used the reference of cat pee in the house when
Yeah.
Justin was up here, right? Same thing with these properties. If it's got like run down and you can see the vision of rehabbing this thing and the numbers work on the spreadsheets, then it works. That's why, I was really nervous at $123,000 because if you let that stuff get in your head about, oh gosh, this thing's a dump, we got a bunch of drug dealers, I don't think we can do all this. The flip side of that is if you can get through it and you're in it for the long game, you can make some money on it.
And here's something let me teach you, because the older members in the room, they're like members like when I joined 2009, 2008, we used to teach price per door. And the problem is, when we used to buy stuff at 20 and 25 a door, now you're hearing 120 a door, it's scaring you. Guys, you got to stop thinking that price per door. Focus on return on investment. It doesn't matter if it's 120 a door if you can get an $1,800 rent. Because you can find something at 20 a door, but if the rent's at $300, it's upside down. So don't go by price per door. Go by return on investment. And that's a big thing I want to get across.
Yeah, and David, I look at it like this. Yeah, it's a real estate asset that you're buying, but really you're buying a business.
Yes.
Right. You're really buying. It's the same thing that private equity companies do with large corporations. They're buying that business to increase the NOI of that business. It's just on a multi-billion-dollar scale for those guys. It's the same game. We're just playing it in real estate.
And for the nerds in the room, it's a stream of income. Don't worry about the families and all that. Worry about a stream of income. Here's my rate of return on this. Can I increase it by X? That's what really comes down to. Take the emotions out. It's a decision based on finances if you're smart about this. Okay? Do you have questions, Nicole? We got a couple online questions. And tell us where they're from. Like if they're from Kentucky, you got to talk as if you're missing some teeth. These are jokes.
I don't know how somebody with missing teeth talks, but anyway.
They start with
So Leslie, who I believe is in the San Antonio area, would like to know if you guys are on podium or the celebration list.
We're on the celebration list.
Okay.
I don't think we're on podium.
Okay. And then Suzanne would like to know, do you guys have full-time jobs, or is this your full-time job?
I do. But maybe not for much longer.
So it sounds
So
like
this is Shannon's full-time job now.
This
Yeah.
is my full-time and beyond job right now.
Do you love this job, Shannon?
I love it most of the time.
There's always
Yeah.
a few headaches, but
But I signed on for it. We could have had a third-party property manager,
But
which
don't
we
you
didn't.
get a big satisfaction out of taking an ugly turn and making it beautiful?
Yeah, so one of the things I loved about the vacation rentals was I took this house and I had to figure out how to make it beautiful so people would want to stay in it and
Right.
pay a lot of money per night. So this has been just the same thing 60 times over. I get
There
to
you go.
think, okay, how can I make this look like something I would enjoy living in? Because the rents are frankly something that it's at the level I would be paying. And I'd want the granite and I'd want this and that, and it works for this property. The numbers just work. Also, we have the advantage of that we live in the area. So when we saw this, we weren't as afraid of it because we knew what was happening all around McKinney and the improvements that were going on and the ripple effect from the downtown area. So that made it a lot less scary for us because we knew.
And they
But
had
yeah.
the vision. That's a big thing is, can you think with the end in mind? Can you see the vision of making a beautiful property? It's huge.
And I think Justin talked, really accurately about learning the game, right? And kind of scaling into, the size you want to get to when he was talking about the houses up here. We're the same way with the apartments. It was 40 in Fort Worth. Now we're 60 in McKinney. The next time we do this, we're going to go triple digits in terms of doors, right? So it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And the great thing about that is the larger you get, the more, you shift from actually doing the work yourself into managing the staff that does the work. So that's the piece that I think we're excited to get to.
Yeah, that's one thing that's opposite of what you think when you're new. And I'll teach the economies of scale this weekend is little 50 unit, they're much more hands-on. They get to 100 unit, they're less hands-on. They get to 200 units plus, now they can form their own property management company and they really buy back their time. And they're in that growth period. They already got 3 properties. Are you guys stopping? It's addictive, isn't it?
Yes, and I have to get him retired from corporate America.
That is
so
correct.
the only way to do that is, I really need him with me full time. I'm doing well by myself, but I can't even imagine if he's in it 100% with me. It blows my mind. No, you're going to be great. But it blows my mind how far we could go with this. So I'm excited to see the future with Keith doing this
What's
with me
this thing about some
100%.
awards you won?
Okay.
These aren't apartment awards.
No. Alan Beezer was what did you say? You won like perfect attendance or something?
This is
Right.
why I can't let them come up with their own slides.
So this slide, LU gives these slides, you have to fill them out. And I thought, we haven't won any awards. You actually typed it up. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we did do those things.
I did not screen these slides before. I just put them up here.
So
It's true that I won a radio contest in 1997 and with 2 free round trip tickets anywhere Southwest flew.
it
So
was
those
one of
contests
those.
on the radio are real. People ask me that
Yeah.
question when I tell them. So those were real contests. You actually give out tickets and stuff. Those were actually. So we went to Spokane, Washington, and it took about 18 different connections on Southwest to get there.
Yeah, and both of us were teachers at the time. Keith didn't tell you before he was a CPA, has master's in accounting. He was a history teacher. So we really.
Which period of history?
Well, whichever one they wanted to pay attention to.
Like
No,
Franco-Prussian War.
No, mostly American history,
Oh.
right? American. I taught some sections of world history, but yeah, U.S. history.
Government and economics. One per hop.
Well, yeah, one per hour.
Yeah. So he and I were listening to the same radio station in 2 different cars coming home from work. And so I hear one of those play the songs. And what did you have to say? Like what the songs were on the.
Yeah, you had to name the top 5 songs that were played. And so I was, like I mentioned, I was raised on a farm. So I'd spent all summer long, sun up to sundown, in the cab of a tractor. So I never turned off the radio. So I know all about the 80s pop music. Okay. Try to stump me. So anyway, I pulled into the driveway just about the time the 5th song started. And I thought, what the heck? I'm waiting on Shannon. I'll just go in and call. And I called and they're like, no, you're not the right caller. And I thought, okay, redial. And he's like, okay, what are they? And I was like, this and that and that. I don't even remember what they are. And I want it.
And your phone had a cord, right?
Yeah, the phone had a cord.
Yeah, and I heard this on the radio. I was listening and I couldn't believe that's my Keith. So, but really that was just foreshadowing because eventually Keith went to work for his software company accounting software in sales. He's an excellent salesperson, and we won many trips all over the world from his salesmanship. So it started with a radio, calling into the radio, and evolved into selling really huge deals for this company. So just bragging on you a bit because
I could
I've
sell you
had
an
a fun
apartment.
life because of this man.
I'll sell you guys an apartment if you're interested.
So what are your goals, guys? What do you see yourselves? What are you doing next? So you
Well,
want to retire, obviously. I see
right,
that.
exactly. I'm hoping that 22 is the year to walk away.
Okay.
It's going to depend on the timing of the way the deals roll out, but 22 will be the big thing for me personally. We want to go 200 plus doors. We mentioned multiple doors
Okay.
on that. We're looking to sell 2 Fort Worth multifamily properties in early 22.
Okay.
Long term, we want to go, passively in multifamily.
Are you guys invested passively now, or
Yes.
just
Yes,
how
sir.
many passive deals are you in?
One.
One, okay.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
here?
We knew we wanted to be
Yeah.
leads, so we kind of had to hoard our money.
Yeah, that's one thing I teach you guys. If you go passive on a whole bunch of deals, then you won't have enough money to buy your own deals of leads. So it's very, very smart what they're doing, holding back.
Yeah.
Question is, where's your place in Fort
So
Worth?
it's a portfolio. So it means there's 2 different properties. One is over by the Coliseum on
Near Camp Bowie,
near Camp Bowie, I guess. I'm trying to think.
Tulsa
Tulsa.
Way, right
Tulsa
off of
Way.
Camp Bowie, Tulsa Way.
Yeah.
hmm
And the other one is south of 30, and it's pretty close to the zoo, just east of the zoo, across the creek from the zoo. The residents can actually hear the hyenas sometimes and the lions. Keep them in line.
You
know
probably do. Barclay's the one by the zoo. It's gorgeous, 1920s property. It scared me when we bought it. I thought it was going to have 1 million repairs. It was rehabbed so well that we might get one maintenance call a month, and that's not an exaggeration. That's the one near the zoo, Barclay. And then the Heights is more of a traditional garden style over by the cultural district.
They have a movie called The Heights right now. No, it's in New York.
Oh, yeah.
It's a musical.
It's the musical, yeah.
Come on, you guys should have culture.
Sorry, we saw it.
It's okay. Yeah.
All right,
Anyone
best
give a shout out?
KPs in the entire universe, the Beezers, Alan and Laurel.
Participation award.
It's going to embarrass them, but they're awesome. They have been our key principals for all of our deals.
Okay.
And so whenever I need something, Laurel I text usually. I'm like, Laurel, what do I do? So we talk a lot, texting. That's our thing. But they are several steps ahead of us in their multifamily journey. And so we just kind of follow them along and replicate what they're doing. And we've been having a lot of fun this past year. Both of us are rehabbing properties. So that's been
See, isn't
interesting.
this cool? They come to my seminar and they all end up in rehab. And court, yeah.
Yep. Court and rehab.
And I ruined their careers.
Yep. Let's see. So, we couldn't do this without our partners. So all of the people that invest with us in these properties
Where's those partners? Raise your hands.
are our
Give
partners.
yourselves a hand.
Woohoo! And
I see a veterinarian in the way back.
I
room.
know,
Let
even
him.
a veterinarian. We have a postal carrier. We've got teachers. We have corporate people, IT people, retired people, engineers.
The question was, how long did it take you to raise the money to do the deal? You remember?
Couple days. Not even.
Yeah, with
So-
lifestyles, it's very easy to raise money.
So it's really easy. They give you rules and you just follow these rules. And I'm, a teacher, so rules work for me. So I follow them.
So where's your mask? Sorry,
This is not California.
I know.
So what you do is you write up, you tell everybody, this is this deal that we found that if you're on our investor list, and here's why we like it. Here's what we project's going to happen with it. And if you like all of that, then you say, you know what, I want in on that. And if we have a place for you, you're in. And so at the time that we sent out the information on this deal, I think by end of the first day or maybe middle of the next day, we were completely full with the amount of money that we needed, and we had to start turning people away. So it went really fast. Well, we asked for 25, but we did have like the college student that came in with 10. And I think we had maybe even a 15. I have to look back and see. But we've been the people who ate rice and beans on Thursdays while we were teachers so we could stretch our dollar to Friday's paycheck. So we really, if somebody is in the same boat or young and starting out, we've got college students of our own, our
Who likes
sons.
that our members do that for each other? I love that. That's what it's all about.
So most of the leads do that, and we follow suit. It's just something that's important to us to do.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
You want to think capital and is Rick Robinette here?
Yeah, I saw Rick earlier.
He was here earlier. Ponytail guy.
The lawyer guy?
He's awesome.
outside.
He's done all of our deals as our legal person.
Yeah,
Yeah, he has a ponytail.
Yeah, the
He's rocking
ponytail.
like Daka. Yep.
He also likes cats. I think he wants to be a
Yes.
cat, thus the ponytail.
but really the point of the slide is the team, the word team at the very top of it, right? I mean, take a look at the titles of these folks: lending brokers, the real estate brokers, the mentors, the legal group, the insurance team. All of this is about the people that you surround yourself with in order to be successful. So you've got to have all these people. That's one of the great advantages of lifestyles, is because all of these resources are kind of right under this roof, right? So anyway, that's all very important. We could have done any of this without that group and
Cool.
more.
Do we have any more online questions or no? So I know.
Megan wants to know where you bought or who did you buy the property from?
They bought it from a dude in Canada.
A Canadian owner. He owned it about 27 years.
Okay.
Had the same property manager there about 23. Her husband did the maintenance, and she was the manager.
Did you keep them?
No. Actually, there's some residents that have been there 20 years. They're still at the property. They're waiting for us to rehab an apartment for them to move into, and they'll pay the increased
See,
rent.
That is the funniest thing. I remember,
Yeah, we've got 3 that have already done that.
I tell people this all the time. Like, I bought a Class A property downtown, really high end, and they were paying $300 rents. And I raised the rents to $1,200. And they said, no way on earth will the people that are there pay those new rents. I raised the rent to $1,200 on the guy, he paid it right away. People want a good place to live as long as you take care of them. They could afford it the whole time, but the old landlord didn't know that. So that same thing with them. It's not a problem.
Right, and the previous owner just wouldn't put the money into it.
Yeah.
So the property
Let it
manager
try.
told me, I mean, she just did the best she could. She and her husband did with the budget they were given by the owner. And it ended up like it did. But unfortunately, eventually, it just starts attracting people that you don't want to live next door to. The low rents do, because nobody else likes the way the apartment looks, and so
Right.
they just won't move in. So it creates issues that we had to come in and clean up. But the residents that have been there a couple of decades, they're creatures of habit. They know, they're so familiar with what's around them that they want to stay there. But then they said, we noticed you have cleaned up the property. Those people are gone. That scared me.
Yep.
The drug dealers coming around the parking lot are not coming around anymore. So it's good to hear that they noticed.
Yeah, now the
difference.
accountants are showing up with their tattoos.
I'm gonna go get one of those.
Nicole,
No.
you have one last question online?
One last one. How do you manage to keep up with all of the different investors and different properties and managing all those different properties?
How do you do all that? I guess.
So it goes back to what I said on the previous slide with the team the team of people help, but also, I mean, there are systems that we use. Like, for example, we use Resman as a software system. There's a variety of apps we just talked about with some of the other leads that can be used to help manage just processes.
So really what it comes down to, people, that's where lifestyles come in. We're an education mentor group. We have operation consultants. We have mentors that walk them through this process. They have lots of people they can reach out to. And I know you guys don't realize this. Before we started tonight, at 4 o'clock, we have a special meeting of all these lead investors to put together these deals. Now, you have to be a lead investor to come to that, but they do that every single month. What's the chance their level of success if there's like 40 different owners that all get together every month and talk about anything that can come up? That's the power of lifestyles. We do that every single month. And they have that group to reach out to. They have the mentors to reach out to. It's just a system, and they're following a system. Okay?
Can I make a comment?
Jack has a comment.
Part of that question was, how do you keep up with the investors?
How do you keep up with the investors?
And I will say a question
So what one of the members in the room saying for the people that are watching online, Jack's one of the investors in this deals. He says what he appreciates is they are such good communicators. They send out emails all the time telling them exactly what's going on. So he never has a question what's going on because they're very transparent and open their books to them. Okay? Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for giving back. We really appreciate it.